Wealth isn't random, it's behavioral. This is the scarcity divide, where wealth strategy meets psychology. Most people think financial mistakes are obvious: overspending, bad investments, credit card debt. But the most expensive financial mistake people make is one they never see. It's called opportunity cost, and it quietly shapes your entire financial life. Imagine two friends. Both earn the same salary. Both start their careers at 25. Both receive the same raises over time. On the surface, their financial lives look identical. But one small difference changes everything. The first friend buys a new luxury car every few years. Nothing extreme, just a nice upgrade, a nicer car, a nicer apartment, a few more comforts. The second friend does something different. They keep their expenses stable. Instead of upgrading lifestyle, they invest the difference. Not risky speculation, just steady investments in assets that compound over time. At first, the difference is invisible. 5 years pass. Both friends look like they're doing fine. 10 years pass. Still similar lifestyles, but under the surface, something very different is happening. Because the real cost of spending money is rarely the price tag. The real cost is what that money could have become. That luxury car didn't just cost $50,000. It cost the investments that money could have become over 20 years. And compounding turns small decisions into massive outcomes. Opportunity cost is invisible. That's why it's so dangerous. When you buy something, you only see the benefit. You don't see the alternative future that disappears. The investments you didn't make, the business you didn't start, the assets you didn't acquire, the freedom you delayed. That invisible cost compounds quietly. And by the time most people notice it, the gap is enormous. This is where wealth psychology becomes powerful. Because wealthy thinkers don't just ask, "Can I afford this?" They ask a different question. What is this costing my future? Every dollar has two possible paths: consumption or ownership. Consumption gives you something now. Ownership gives you something that grows. Both have value, but they produce very different outcomes over time. This doesn't mean never spending money. Wealth isn't about living like a monk. It's about understanding trade-offs. The scarcity divide isn't about income. It's about how people evaluate decisions. Most people evaluate price. Strategic thinkers evaluate opportunity cost. They ask, if I spend this today, what am I giving up tomorrow? That question changes behavior. It turns impulsive decisions into strategic ones. Think about time as well. Opportunity cost doesn't only apply to money. It applies to attention, career choices, projects, relationships. Every yes eliminates 1,000 other possibilities. And successful people understand that every decision has a hidden cost, not just in money, but in what could have been built instead. Here's the paradox. Opportunity cost isn't meant to create fear. It's meant to create clarity. When you understand the real cost of a decision, you make better ones. Not because you avoid spending, but because you spend attention out. You choose the experiences that matter. You choose the investments that compound. You choose the opportunities with the highest upside. And that intentionality compounds. Most people drift financially. They respond to opportunities as they appear. They upgrade lifestyle as income increases. They react to circumstances. But wealth builders design their trajectory. They think long-term. They think in compounding curves. They think in opportunity cost. Because the biggest financial gap between people rarely comes from income. It comes from decisions repeated over decades. Small choices, repeated consistently, quietly shaping outcomes. So the next time you're about to spend money, ask yourself a simple question. Not, can I afford this? Ask, what future am I giving up to make this decision today? Because the cost you see is rarely the real cost. The real cost is the future you never built. If this changed how you think about money, subscribe. Because the divide isn't financial, it's psychological. This is the scarcity divide.